The AFC North is filled with a lot of questions, and the best thing I can say is, let's break it down. What's going on, guys? Dick Support here, back with another video. Today we're talking about the AFC North, a division that holds a lot of competitive teams, and one that has a lot of questions. Then again, so do the other three. Let's just break it down. Okay, with Baltimore, they have $9 million in cap space projected, but we know they're going to free up cap space, and it all starts with Marcus Williams. Marcus Williams has struggled as a Raven with staying on the field and really his play on the field. Last year, he was a healthy scratch for a few games, and I think we all know he's just not going to be a Raven next year, so that will help them out, and we know their top free agent is. It's Ronnie Stanley. Ronnie Stanley returned to that left tackle form that we saw when he got the contract extension. Then he was trying to recover from the ankle injury that he got in 2020. Finally fully recovered. Finally back to the player that we saw. And whether he gets a big deal or not, we'll see. But from what we know, the Ravens might be getting him back before he even goes to free agency. By the time this video uploads, he might already be re-signed by Baltimore. Another interesting one is Diontae Johnson. Now, Diontae Johnson has had an interesting season. He's been on many teams in 2024, one of which was the Ravens. They waived him. He was picked up by another team, waived by that team, picked up by the Ravens before the playoffs, but they couldn't use him on their roster. He was going to be a free agent anyway. So if he signs with somebody, the Ravens get a free compensation pick for pretty much nothing. It's kind of genius by Eric DeCosta, let's admit. It's kind of genius. Also, Patrick McCarry's a free agent. He's one of the most versatile offensive linemen. Definitely going to be a name on the market. Justice Hill is also a free agent, a do-it-all running back. Patrick Ricard, man, talk about a fullback. A 300-pound fullback that is one of the best fullbacks in the league. And Brandon Stevens is also a free agent. I wouldn't expect him to be back. He was probably one of the worst corners last year. In terms of needs that they have, edge position, I would definitely get some more depth there, even though both Kyle Van Noy and Odafe Oweh are going to be back, but both of them are in the last year of their contracts, and David Ojabo just has not lived up to being a second-round pick. Cornerback and safety, I mentioned with Brandon Stevens, they're going to need somebody to start and complete that trio that they have. Nate Wiggins is going to be a starter. Marlon Humphrey, he was better in the slot last year. And at safety, you talked about Marcus Williams. And, yeah, definitely need somebody across from Kyle Hamilton. And at the guard position, mentioned McCary. He was their starting guard last year. Definitely want to make sure they have that shored up. And if they can't get Ronnie Stanley re-signed, they're definitely going to need a new left tackle. Okay, the Bengals have three big players that are due for contract extensions. One, T. Higgins. Now, it was under assumption that T. Higgins was going to be a free agent, but it looks like the Bengals will put the franchise tag on him for a second straight year. Will they actually get a long-term deal done with him? We shall see. Jamar Chase, he's due for a contract extension. He needs one. He really does. But it's not only that. Their top defensive player, Trey Hendrickson, their only consistent defensive player from last year, is in the final year of his contract. And after leading the league in sacks last year, he has definitely earned a contract extension. Now, they have enough money to pull this off because they have $58 million projected in cap space. But we know Mike Brown is a cheap owner. All right? I'm not going to sugarcoat it. He's cheap. Will he put out the money that he needs to put out to get these guys re-signed? I don't know. Also, Sheldon Rankins is a free agent. So is B.J. Hill. That's two of their defensive tackles. Trent Brown, he was signed in to be their starting tackle while getting their first-round pick ready. Is Mims going to be ready to take on a starting role? I don't know. Marco Wilson, one of their corners, is free agent. Their tight end, Mike Gesicki's a free agent. Von Bell's a free agent, although I would expect Von Bell to be back. He is definitely better when he's a Bengal. As far as top needs, offensive line, definitely. You got to protect Joe Burrow. And just defense. I mean, without Trey Hendrickson, I can't even imagine how bad this defense would have been. This was already a bad defense, but without Trey Hendrickson, it just makes it even worse. And with the 17th overall pick, I would expect somebody to fall to the Bengals. I would expect them to get kind of a steal at 17th overall, because we do see that from time to time. Players fall that we're expecting to be taken in the top 10. I see him fall to 17 all the time, so could definitely see that happening. Really, for the Bengals, it's just all about getting those 3 players signed. If they can do that, it's going to get an A+ from basically everybody. Where is Myles Garrett going to go? That's the big question right now with the Browns, isn't it? Is he going to stay in Cleveland, or is he going to be on the trade market? And as of right now, it looks like he will be on the trade market. He did request a trade, and he might be the best defensive player in the NFL right now. He's going to be a hot commodity. The Browns are going to get at least 1 first-round pick, maybe even 2, for Myles Garrett. And it seems like every team would love to have him. I mentioned the Philadelphia Eagles as a team that might go ahead and pull the trigger on getting Garrett. That's going to be one of the craziest storylines from the offseason. What's going to happen with Myles Garrett? Another thing with the Browns, Deshaun Watson. He tore his Achilles again. He's not going to be available for 2025. Personal feelings aside, what do the Browns do at quarterback? They have the 2nd overall pick, and right now, out of the top 3, that's Tennessee, Cleveland, and New York Giants, I feel like Cleveland is the most likely team to take a quarterback in the 1st round. Which, if they take a rookie quarterback, what happens with the rest of their team? Jarrett Wills is a free agent. He was their left tackle. So, if he leaves, they're definitely going to need a new left tackle. Jameis Winston is a free agent. He was their backup quarterback. Could another team take a chance on him being their starter next year? Nick Chubb is a free agent. He was a great running back for them, but suffered the major knee injury in 2023 or 2024. No, 2023, and then 2024 he suffered another injury. So it's going to be crazy to think about him no longer being a Brown. Nick Harris is a free agent. Elijah Moore is a free agent. And then Maurice Hurst is a free agent. Right now for Cleveland, it does seem like they're at this transition where they could either try to contend or they could rebuild all of it. It's just not a good time right now for Cleveland, because anything could happen now, and that's kind of scary if you're a Browns fan, because you have no idea what's going to happen. In terms of other needs, definitely edge. No matter what happens with Myles Garrett, they're going to need another edge. And then wide receiver. Amari Cooper's gone, and I just mentioned Elijah Moore's a free agent. They've got to get some help at the receiver position. Okay, Pittsburgh also has quarterback as their top need, because both Justin Fields and Russell Wilson are free agents. And they said they would like to have one of those guys back, but what if they don't get either back? I mean, it's a real possibility. Do they go free agency or the draft? They do have the 21st overall pick, so they might get the 3rd quarterback in the draft. I really don't know what Pittsburgh's going to do. It's really up to them with what happens. And they do have $56 million in cap space, so it's not as if they can't sign anybody, because they will be able to. But who do they get? Do they get Fields or Wilson, or if either of them leave? What do they do? Again, it's just up to them. And in terms of other free agents, Mike Williams is a free agent, so is Preston Smith, James Daniels, Dante Jackson, C.J. Henderson, DeMonte Keeson, and then Najee Harris. Najee Harris has had 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons as a running back to start his career. But how much is he really going to get in free agency? Because we know the criticism with Najee Harris. And if he does leave, that's going to be a need for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So is wide receiver, because George Pickens, could he be on the move? Because right now, there's a question of whether he'll remain in Pittsburgh for the long term. And like I said, Mike Williams is also a free agent. And then cornerback, definitely going to need a corner. Like I said, Dante Jackson is also a free agent. They have other corners that are free agents as well. Definitely want to get some more depth there. But like I said, it's quarterback that is the top need for them. And honestly, they may want to think about what they want to do with the highest paid defense in the NFL. Could they let some of these guys go? You have to think about how much longer does TJ Watt have? How much does Cam Hayward have left in the tank? He's been in the NFL for so long. So really, the Steelers may have some difficult decisions to make this offseason. Alright guys, those were my thoughts on the AFC North. Next up is going to be the NFC North. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.